So we're out hiking, beautiful day out, a little overcast. We're walking along, listening to music, listening to podcasts, hanging out, lost in our own thoughts. When suddenly you look up and you realize you have no idea where you are. You are lost in the woods. What do you do?
This is your first time here. This is where I review a product I have bought, I have no sponsorship or bias towards, and have put through the ringer. Who am I? I've been mountaineering, climbing, and backpacking for over 20 years. I'm the guy who intentionally gets lost in the woods to see if I can survive and get out with only the gear on my back. I'm the guy who buys and tests out all this gear so that you don't have to. Welcome to Short Road.
In today's video, we're going to discuss what to do if you get lost in the woods. Remember, when going out for a hike, especially if you do plan on going off trail, is you want to prepare for it. So that includes having your 10 essentials, your water, your first aid, your food, and all the things you might need to signal. Another thing you want to do is let somebody know where you're going to be. Let someone know where you're going to be hiking. If perhaps you live alone or you don't want to do that for some reason, just leave a note on your kitchen table, on the kitchen counter. This is where I'm going. So if something does happen to you, if you don't show up and police do have to enter your house to look for you, they're going to find that note, and then rescue is going to be on the way. Most common way hikers get lost in the woods is wandering off trail. About 41% of people who get lost are lost on their own accord. If you don't want to get lost, stay on the trail. Easy as that. When you're preparing to go on a hike, just take 15-20 minutes to read up about where you're going to be going. How difficult are the trails? How populated are they? How crowded with other people? Where are the water sources? And also the natural wildlife, and if need be, the edibles. Basically, not those kind of edibles. What can you eat? What can you not? The rule with mushrooms, don't do it unless you're like an expert on mushrooms. Other things you can eat are some of the plants, the root systems, and obviously there are a lot of berries that you can eat. Some are poisonous, some are not, but those are a lot easier to spot than mushrooms. So read up on it, see what you can't do. Just keep that in the back of your head. The best tool for any kind of survival situation, it's always going to be your head. It's going to be staying calm and using the knowledge that you have to get out safe or signal for rescue. So there's a simple acronym that's pretty easy to follow, and it's STOP. STOP. And you're going to follow that acronym, and that hopefully is going to get you rescued and save your life. So let's go over what to do when you get lost in the woods. So the first thing you always want to do is stop. Look around, see if you can actually remember which way you came from. A lot of times when you're in the woods, it all looks the same. You're going to get turned around. You're going to get lost. So always check your surroundings, see where you are, to know which way you came from. If you don't know, the best course of action is not just to pick a way and start walking. You're probably just going to get more lost. The best thing to do is follow that acronym and stop. So the S stands for stop. Stay calm, stop moving, and assess the situation. Most people, when they get lost, they're going to want to keep moving. They're going to want to find their way out. Don't. Stop. T is think. So think, how did we get lost? And why are we in the woods hiking when we're lost? We should not be, but we should. First thing to always do is not panic, relax. You're in the woods, you are fine. People know hopefully where you are, and you will be found, or you will find your way out. So do not panic, do not get stressed out, relax, control your breathing, and stay put. O, observe. All right, so we are lost in the woods. First thing I'm always going to do is use my two senses, my ears and my eyes. I'm going to look at the ground. I'm going to see if I can find any indentations, any footprints from where I came from, and also just any kind of footprints in general, because if there are others, that means this is a place where other people come and I will be found. I'm also going to listen. Can I hear traffic? Can I hear other voices? That's one thing I'm always going to keep aware of, is my surroundings. What do I see? What do I hear? So once we've decided to stay put, we don't know where we are, we don't know which way we came from, we're all turned around, we're staying put. I found my spot. It's pretty good. There's a pretty good clearing here. There are a lot of resources that I can use. There's a lot of wood, fallen wood, that I can use to build some kind of structure, some kind of lean-to if I need to. And there's also wood where I can make a small fire. Now, when it comes to fire, obviously there are a few good things about that. 1, light. 2, warmth. And 3, visibility. So fire is something that is easy to spot from anywhere around here in the woods, and also up above if there is some kind of helicopter rescue coming for you. Fire is easy to spot. The one caveat I'm always going to give, well, 2 caveats really. 1, you should know how to make a fire, and 2, you should know how to make a safe fire. So if you cannot make a safe fire where there is a chance you can start some kind of forest fire, do not make a fire. Starting a forest fire will be much, much worse for you, for nature, for everybody. So please do not do that. Learn how to make a fire, learn how to make a safe fire, how to make a fire pit. It's going to serve you well. All right, so I found my place where I'm going to camp out. This is where I'm going to be staying. Next thing I want to do, see what's in my bag. Hopefully you have all prepared for this. You know what is in your bag. You have your 10-ish essentials, because again, that's why we bring them, in case we need them. And right now, if we're lost, we need them. So let's go over what I got in my pack. And then P is plan. All right, I got my trusty pack. Let's see what we got. So right away on the outside, I already see multiple resources that I could be using. 1, I do have a machete. Obviously that's going to come in handy if I need to chop down any trees, if I need to sharpen any edges of branches to make stakes or to make a lean-to. I also have a trekking pole. Again, these are great for multiple purposes. I can use it as some kind of support structure. I can also use it to attach maybe this jacket to the end of this, wave it around, make me much more visible. I also have a all-purpose knife. So this is the Essie blade. Again, this is going to come in very handy because it is a multi-use knife. So with this, I can do a multitude of things, from finding food to digging, to again chopping branches, small trees. I'm not going to chop a tree with this. So again, this is just part of being prepared. I also have one of my key essentials, water. So obviously, hopefully you have water. This is going to be crucial. This is what's going to keep me alive. So I do have water, and I also know in my bag that I have water filtering capabilities. So if I did find a stream or anything like that, I would be able to filter water, and I would be good to go. So on the outside, in this satellite bag, I have my headlamp. So this is the Petzl version, which I use all the time. It has strobe. Strobe is another great way to be found because it is a not natural light, but it also has the bright, the dim as well. So at night, this thing is going to come in handy to be able to see and to be able to signal. And then I also have this life tent. So it's a little bit heavy, but in terms of survival, this thing just hopefully saved my life. It's insanely easy to use. It's basically just a big Mylar with some guy lines that you can tie up to a tree, stake it down, put this over, and I basically have a tent now. So I have shelter, I have light, I have water. Another thing I carry is a signal mirror. This one has a hole in it so you can look through. So again, I can now signal as long as there is a good amount of light out. Today is overcast. I can use this as a signal to be rescued. It's also a mirror. I can look at myself. I can help treat wounds if I have something on my face that I can't see. This little mirror is going to help. And you can also start a fire with it if, again, there was sunlight. So another super handy thing to have on you for any situation you get lost. Another, hand sanitizer. This is going to keep me clean. This will help disinfect any kind of infections I get, although I do have a first aid kit. This is also really good for a fire starter if you need to use it. And then I have a bag of, these usually just stay in my bag, of food. I have a honey stinger bar, great energy in there. And I also have a maple almond butter pack from Justin's. This one has protein in it. So these two things are calorically dense with a lot of energy. That, again, is going to help keep me alive. So these I will ration as needed. And then I also have my Suunto compass. So obviously if I have this, this is going to be one of those things where you're probably not going to get lost if you have a compass, if you know your direction out. If you don't have a compass, get a compass. It's tiny, bring it, always keep it in your bag. And last up, in this satellite bag, I have a little portable lighter. This is electric. So this is going to help start my fire. I recommend bringing always a couple sources, fire starters. One, I mean, we're not living in the wild. There are lighters available. Bring a lighter. It's super easy to use. Everyone can do it. All right, so that's the satellite bag. All right, now moving on. Let's see what we got in the big bag. So, as I mentioned, we do have a bigger water filter that I carry. We also have a water container that is foldable. And this holds 4 liters. This is the MSR Drome Light. Very light, very compact. That's why I like it. Multiple uses. It has 2 different nozzles. One Nalgene style, easy to hook up. You can also hook up water filter directly to this to filter water out. So again, if I do find a water source, I will fill this thing up and filter it into my Nalgene, and that will save me. So I got my water filters. I also have always my hard shell. This is the Arc'teryx Beta LT. It's, again, very light. It's always with me. This is going to keep me basically safe from any kind of rain and also wind. It will keep me warm. That's always in my pack. I usually also carry carabiner, and I have some rope and a sling, because you never know. But again, if I am building any kind of shelter, anything, a rope and a sling and a carabiner, it's going to help a lot. Next up, I do carry gloves with me. So if it does get cold or I don't want to get my hands all dirty, I'm going to use gloves. I have a buff, multiple uses. I've gone over this many times. I'm not going to go over the buff again. Bring a buff. And then I have my first aid kit. So this is going to have all of my essentials in here. I've gone over first aid before. I'm not going to go over it again. Always bring a first aid kit, watch my first aid, and enjoy. Next up, this is kind of my 10 essentials bag, if you will. It's all the stuff that doesn't fit in the satellite or stuff that I'm not going to be using often enough where I'm going to need it in that satellite bag where it's easy access. So this stays in my pack. I have another water filter. This is a straw. So if you don't want to bring the big water filter, which you definitely do not, always have at least a life straw or something similar where if you do find water, you can filter, you can drink. I also have some medications in case I need them. What else do I have in here? I have a toothbrush, little portable toothbrush. I got some body wipes, essentials. This is what I was talking about with the life straw. If you want to also bring a life straw. In this bag, I have fire starters. So as I said, bring a lighter. There is a lighter in here. There are waterproof matches in here. There are batteries in here. So these extra batteries I will use for my headlamp, but you can also start a fire with them. So I do like to carry them. And then I have a Striker, normal Striker fire starter in here. I also have a trowel. So yes, for pooping, but it's also a shovel. So I do like to carry this. It is very light. So I do like to carry this just in case, not just for pooping in the woods, but also if I do need to shovel out anything, this is your mini shovel. I carry an extra Mylar just because they are so light. They are so versatile. You can wear it. You can use it as a tarp to create some kind of shelter. So that's always in my pack. And I bring some, here I have some water purification tabs and also just some electrolytes and a coffee pack because for me, essential. Otherwise, the last thing I got in here is a whistle. So this is a survival tool. This is very, very loud. And this is something that if you are lost in the woods, you're going to be using. All right, and last up on the list, I do as well carry, and normally I don't carry as many knives with me, but I have been testing them out. But I will carry a multi-tool. This is the Leatherman Signal. Again, if you are lost in the woods, this is going to be a big one because it does have a fire starter, which is very effective. It has a little knife, has a saw, has all of the normal features in it. So I do recommend always bringing a multi-tool because there are multiple uses for this tool. Now, if there is a reason to leave, like the area you're in is unsafe, try to limit your movement times to morning and evening, rest during the day, the hottest parts of the day, and vice versa. If you're in a cold environment, try to rest in the morning and the evenings and move during the day when the sun is at its highest, when it's going to be the warmest. And once you decide to move, make some kind of marker of the location where you're starting. Some kind of arrow with rocks, with sticks, digging in the dirt with your heel. Just mark an arrow of the direction you're going. If you have a watch and you know what time it is, mark the time. All these things are going to help get you out of there. And while we're moving, we also want to be aware and observe our surroundings. So we're still looking for prints, for anything that could be man-made. So if you check right here, fallen tree, that is a clean cut. That was done with a chainsaw. That means you're probably on the right track. We're listening. I'm listening for people, for cars, any kind of traffic. And then I'm also keeping an eye out in terms of my elevation and the terrain around me. So if there is some kind of stream, not only is that a water source that's going to keep me alive, but most water sources will lead to bigger water sources and bigger water sources until ultimately that leads to civilization. So if you are tired, stop, rest. You don't need to be pushing hard. You want to be conserving as much energy as possible. And the slower you go, the more aware of your surroundings you can be. So take your time. Also, when it's time to eat and drink, stop. Okay? So you can't hike hard and digest food at the same time. The blood is going to be leaving your stomach and going to your muscles to fuel your muscles. So when you are hungry, stop, take about a half hour, eat, rest, and then move on after that. Remember to stay hydrated. That is going to be the key. Don't wait until you're thirsty. Do not become dehydrated. That is one of the biggest effects of getting lost in the woods, is becoming dehydrated. You'll know when you are. You're not going to think as well. Your mouth is going to get kind of dry and sticky. Your mouth is going to get dry and sticky. Also, keep an eye on your urine for real. Make sure it is a normal, yellowish, clearish yellowish color. If it starts getting dark, you are not getting enough water. You are putting a lot of stress on those kidneys. Start drinking more water. Keep an eye on that pee. Remember, nature is unpredictable. The wild is unpredictable. That's why we want to plan ahead. We want to know where we're going. We want to know how to read a map, how to read a compass, and we always want to bring tools that we're going to need for the hike and in emergencies. So planning ahead is what's going to keep you alive.